Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Jedi Talk. I am your host, Brad Hughes, and today is another Evanless episode, but that is okay. That is okay because he's only 1/3 of the podcast now, not one half like it used to be. And it used to be if Evan wasn't here, then you just had to hear me ramble on about The Last Jedi for hours with no one to stop me. But fortunately for us, the other 1/3 of the podcast is here. I'm joined, of course, by my good friend, Thomas Oakrey. Thomas. Tom, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Oh, by the right of the council and the will of the force, I am doing spectacular today, sir.
That's
How
what I
the
like to
hell
hear.
are you?
Good. Elsa turned out to be a joke, so that's good.
That's good.
I know that it was worse for family who lives like near the coast where it landed. I don't know. I haven't heard too much. Most of them are still in New York right now from 4th of July holiday stuff.
Okay.
So they're doing okay from what I understand. So everything's good. The weather is really humid today. I went on a bike ride a little bit earlier, and I'm still sweating from it even after showering. It's just one of those all-consuming sticky heats that, Florida's known
It's
for.
one of those. Yeah, it's one of those days that you question why you live in Florida, but then you realize you're in paradise and super close to Walt Disney World, and you're like, "This is great."
There's way worse places to be right now.
Like Chicago.
Yes, true.
Oh,
One great place to be right now is on this podcast, and we have a ton of stuff to talk about today. Do you want to steer the ship, or you want me to steer the ship? I don't mind. You tell me what you would prefer.
It doesn't matter to me because I think we both we've got so many great things to talk about today. I think we just jump right into it and see what the hell happens. Like,
that sounds good to me. All right, so first thing is a pretty big deal, and we wrote show notes for this show, and since we've written the show notes, things have changed a little bit, which is good news for us. But there was a new menu that got released at Launch Bay. Rest in peace, Launch Bay. Docking Bay 7 at Galaxy's Edge. And I'll be honest with you, the new menu sounds fantastic. While I'm reading this, if you can pull up the new menu so we can go over each individual thing. I forgot to do that.
I've got it right in front of me.
Beautiful. See, this is why you're on the show. But the thing that was, we'll get to the details of that in a second, but the thing that really annoyed me, and I know it annoyed you too because I told you about it as soon as I heard, it appeared as if they had taken the actual Ronto wrap off the menu and replaced it completely with vegetarian options, which I'm glad people who are vegetarian and vegan are having a way to like eat that kind of stuff too. But do not mess with my Ronto wrap. Do not mess with it. It is a perfect entity in and of itself, and it does not need changes or anything to it. The standard Ronto wrap is beautiful and perfect. It's the first e-ticket in Galaxy's Edge when Galaxy's Edge opened because Rise of the Resistance hadn't opened yet. But I'm happy to report now I checked today, and it is actually still there. It's also going to be, I think this is something they've been doing since the pandemic, but it is also, just for future reference, is located after 3 o'clock at Docking Bay 7. You can get it there as well. So we don't have to fret. But, dude, this new menu sounds unbelievable, and I think this is something that has needed a change since day one because I am not a fan of Docking Bay 7. In fact, I think I've only eaten and ordered food there once.
Wow.
So this is a welcome change for me.
We've never eaten at Docking Bay 7 yet. It's always been the Ronto wraps going right to Ronto Roasters.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought you cut out.
No. It sounded like you cut out. That was really odd.
Oh, that was really odd. Hey, everybody. That was super odd. No, but what I was saying was my wife and I typically go to the Roasters to get the Ronto wraps directly from there. But yeah, you were talking about that one particular thing they said that I think it was Disney Food Blog released that article that you shared was what they said about, and the droid names is escaping me. It's
like
something
RD78 or something like that.
Yes, something like that. Who actually turns the meat in there? I know it's not a pig, but it's the actual meat that's supposed to. Oh, the Ronto, duh. Yeah, I was just getting the actual Ronto itself that goes on the Ronto wraps, spinning it in there, saying that they'd be taking a break, and that just scared me a little bit.
Me too, dude.
It just scared me a little bit. We almost had to launch the hashtag "What's Right is Ronto" to save the Ronto wraps.
Hey, if online can bring back noodles to Ohana, we can bring back the Ronto wrap if we had to. I like to think this
Have you
podcast
ever
has a
had
big enough
these
reach.
noodles?
Yeah, dude, they're delicious.
Are they good?
Yeah,
Okay,
but it's not.
I've
It's
never
not
had
worth
them.
being that upset about. I mean,
I didn't think so.
they're okay.
So, do you want to know what's on this new menu at Docking Bay 7?
I'm dying to talk about it because there's two things that stick out to me, and I'm going to try them this week as soon as I can.
Okay. Okay. Is it the first one on the list, the Batuan beef and crispy tapado stir fry?
It is not that. That sounds good too, though.
Okay. Yeah, it's not too bad, especially if you're a stir fry fan. It looks to be pretty Star Warsy. How about this roasted Andorian chicken salad? I love me a good chicken salad. I believe that this is not real chicken and this is actual Ewok. So
It's Ewok meat.
yeah,
Oh,
Ewok meat.
that'd be hilarious. Wouldn't it be fun if they actually just went for it like that? And they're like, yeah, no, in Star Wars, I know they're cute to you guys, but here on Batu, we eat Ewoks.
They're really high in protein per every 3 ounces.
They're keto. This salad is fully keto.
This
Hashtag
carrot
Ewoks
salad-
are keto.
If you ever want to piss me off, tell me you're a supporter of the keto diet, and I will rage like hell.
I tried it once, but it's one of those things. The second you eat anything like a piece of fruit or anything, it just you're lit back up.
Yeah, it's all about water, and it's all about retaining that water. Our body relies on carbohydrates, so cutting them out is not a smart thing. I digress. This is not a personal training podcast, although I can go on forever about that. But what looks good and you should fit into your diet, Brad.
You should start a podcast about physical fitness called PT with TO.
PT with TO. Patent pending. I like it.
I'm onto something. I'm good with naming things.
Jedi Talk is a beautiful name. I couldn't believe I didn't think of it myself. I remember the one episode, several episodes ago, before I was even going to be on the show, you had made mention that I guess the original Jedi Talk reached out to you or something, was giving you shit about this, like stealing this name or something. I was like, oh, that was wild.
Yeah, but it was like a show from like 2002, and they hadn't done anything with it. And it's like, if you search, because what I did is when I decided to name the show Jedi Talk, it's actually an homage to Collider. Did you ever watch Collider Jedi Council?
No.
If you're not familiar with it, it was a great panel show. It kind of got me wanting to do a Star Wars podcast, to be honest with you. It was one of those things that got me into it. It was all hype and stuff leading up to The Force Awakens, but they had a show called Jedi Council, and then their flagship show was called Movie Talk. And so it was just like Jedi Talk. It's pretty self-explanatory. You don't have to know that it's a Star Wars thing because the word Jedi's in it. Talking, you get what it is. It's not like a history thing. Boom, done. And that's why it's called Jedi Talk. So when
I love it.
When I first started doing Jedi Talk, the only thing that would come up was Jedi Council. So I never heard of the show, and I would tell. First off, if I did steal something like that, I wouldn't address it. I would just, I even offered to have the guys on the show, and I explained it to them. I was like, dude, I'd never heard of your show. Like, how stupid of me to name a show that already exists. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not good for branding. So it's not something I did intentionally, obviously. But and the dude was like, he came off really like aggressive at first, and then he was like, no, man, you're good. Like, he goes, I just thought it was like a stealing thing. I was like, no, dude, I promise you, I did not. So yeah, but that was I forgot about that until you brought it up just now. That's funny.
So random. I wonder if he just decided to search his old talk show just one day and then found obviously the world famous Jedi Talk that we're on right now.
I don't know.
But,
I mean, I used to do a podcast when I was a stand-up comic, and thank God those episodes don't exist anymore. But if someone used the name Lower Level Podcasts, I'm doubting they ever heard of it. So I mean, I don't know. It's just a weird thing to get upset about, but I get it. I get it. I mean, if someone now was using the word the name Jedi Talk, we'd have a problem. But
yeah.
But but even that, like, it's two words. It's Jedi word that I don't own, and the word talk that is just a word. So like, I don't know. Anyway, back to the menu.
We've got that we haven't talked to, some hot chicken tip yip, Periginot hot chicken tip yip. That was interesting. Crispy chicken glaze and spicy chipotle sauce. I'm not big spicy guy, but I could see how somebody who's into things that are spicy and hot that could definitely be into that. And the last thing,
last two things are the things that I'm excited about. That hot chicken one. I am a hot food guy. I put hot sauce on everything, and I don't mean like Frank's hot sauce. My go-to is like El Yucateca, which is like habanero hot sauce. Mwah! I love it. And Disney doesn't do hot stuff that well. And I don't mean that in a mean way. When I say that well, I mean like they don't make it too hot. So if you can eat like buffalo wings, I would assume you'd be able to eat that. Haven't had it yet, but just knowing what Disney does with spicy stuff, like even in their Indian restaurants, there's like no spice. So like,
How
sure it's fine.
how like hot do you like your stuff?
Dude, I've eaten the world's hottest chip. I've had world's hottest wings. I like hot a lot. Like
Okay.
I've done the whole hot ones, hot sauces, and I've had stuff that's like 2 million Scoville units, which is like 80 or 80,000 times hotter than a jalapeno. I can't remember the exact number, but I like hot, man. I like hot a lot. Hot's
I'll
my
have to
jam.
see if I can find you some like really, really hot prickly pear sauce that's out here in Arizona and bring it down to Florida.
That
Give
sounds
you like
awesome.
some famous Arizona hot sauce.
Done. I love hot sauce, man. Like Holly's family every year gets me like a hot sauce pack, like of like new hot sauces. I love
Nice.
the only reason I go to Tijuana Flats is so I can try new hot sauces. I love
Is
it.
this well, do you put hot sauce on your poke?
I don't, but I might now.
On this Peka tuna poke at Docking Bay 7? Is this the thing you're interested in?
Yes, another. I love poke. I love
Oh, me too.
sushi. I love raw fish. Oh, I love it. I eat. I always forget sashimi or nigiri. I eat both of them, but I love the one that's just the fish. So I'm all in. A few years ago at, I think it was Food and Wine. It could have been Flower and Garden, but I'm pretty sure it was Food and Wine. Hawaii had a poke bowl, and I ate that thing I think 12 times that year.
Damn.
I love poke, dude. I'm all in. Those two things are like, I'm going this week and we're gonna get them. That sounds fantastic.
Nuts. Oh yeah, you'll have to let me know obviously before I get a chance to visit. But this last thing from Docking Bay 7, this is probably what I'm most excited about. But of course, as a fat child, the Outpost Puff, this chocolate pastry filled guajillo chocolate mousse and green milk. This is the interesting part. The green milk sauce finished with Thai tea, panna cotta, spiced pineapple, and confectionery debris.
That sounds great. I love panna cotta.
Check.
I love green milk. I think it's I'm not a sweets guy. Like I could never have sugar again outside of like soda, and I would be totally fine. Like I'm not a big dessert guy. I'm not a big ice cream guy. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I just don't like when I'm go like, oh, I have a craving. It's usually for like a cheeseburger or something like that. Like I like savory stuff way more.
I'm all about the sweets. Like inject this thing into my veins. I'm not a big I'm not a big chocolate guy, but this looks spectacular. And like I said, that green milk finish, even though I'm more team blue over team green, I still don't hate the green milk. So give it to me all. Like this will be the first thing I try when I go to Docking Bay 7 for the first time in about 30 something days.
Oh, sweet. So is this? Oh, here's a quick idea. Is this over at Disneyland too, or is it just Disney World's Docking Bay 7?
Oh, that's a great question. Why the hell didn't I even think about this?
So you could probably get this before I could.
Are you right? Let's see. It's well, according to the article that I'm reading right now, it says specifically Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Wow. All right. Well, there goes that theory. But
It will not stop me from checking this Saturday.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday the 7th right now. Oh, by the way, can I make a quick shout out to a family member?
absolutely, dude.
So today is July 7th. It is my oldest, but she's younger to me because I'm the oldest, sister Megan's birthday. So happy birthday, Megan.
Happy birthday, Megan. Happy
July 7th.
birthday. We're going 2 by 2. We're gonna have this new dessert without you. Hey. Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, that was pretty good. So see, now she's forced to listen to the episode because I'm going to tell her I mentioned her a few times.
Nice.
So I'm not going to tell her where in the episode, so we'll get an extra listen from her.
What we'll do is we'll just put at the very end. We'll just cut this
There we
out.
go.
We'll be like, can I give a shout out to somebody? And then it'll just be a cut, and then at the very end it'll be.
There we go.
No,
That's
dude.
how you do giveaways. You give something away, and then you put the answer to the trivia question like right in the last 5 minutes of your show, so everybody listens to it.
Yeah, you don't put it at the very end. You put it like right before 10 minutes before the whipping, and so you have to either listen to it or skim through it. It's
called a tease.
It's how Lou Mangello's career has happened this entire time. Just kidding. I love Lou, actually. He's a good guy. I love Lou. All right. Next thing we can skip because we're not going to talk about it. Was there a new Bad Batch episode today, or are they still on the Friday schedule?
No, they are still on the Friday schedule. The only thing that released today was Loki episode 5, and I think Monsters at Work released today, the first 2 episodes of that.
I'm watching both of those things tonight. Holly loves Monsters Inc. like almost like the way we love Star Wars. It's obviously not as big of a deal, but she loves Monsters Inc. and has been looking forward to this and has brought it up to me no less than 4 times today.
Awesome.
So I know she's excited. So we'll watch that. The last episode of Bad Batch, what was it?
The last episode of Bad Batch is when they were getting out of the story arc with Sid. Omega was left behind.
Yes.
Playing Digital Sabacc. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it a little bit here because we had this in our show notes to talk with Evan because we haven't really heard his thoughts on. I actually don't even know his thoughts on the last few Bad Batch episodes.
Yeah, neither do I.
He's late working tonight, so have fun. We're both here and without you yet again. He's gonna get so mad. I can hear him texting me as we speak. I don't like it. You said that. Well, show up then. I'm just being silly, Evan. I'm just giving you a hard time, dude. So, did you like this episode? Because I liked it better than I thought I would, but it was still. I don't like episodes where they build momentum and then just come to a screeching halt. It drives me insane.
Yeah, it's like the Clone Wars and Bad Batch have this one problem where they need quote unquote filler episodes, but I think the Bad Batch is doing a better job than the Clone Wars, and it maybe learned its lesson, but not completely. Where it's like this is clearly a filler episode. Like I won't lie. However, it moved the story along a little bit. This was more of a side story, and again, we had mentioned this either the Last Jedi talk or I made mention this on the Fourth Mother Box that I was scared that they were going to be looped into this whole season with Sid being, like they're bounty hunters, and it's like we just saw this on the Mandalorian the first season, right? Do we have to get it again with the Bad Batch? And thank God we didn't. And Omega bailed them out this time, so I loved that. I loved the, in the beginning of the episode too, how I just. Like you thought Sid was going to just ship Omega off to some bounty hunter and make mad money off of that. So
I thought it was a trap.
I
thought maybe she worked with Cad Bane or something, and he would show back up. I thought that's where that was going, and I was like, "Wow, they really did a good job." They also did you? I think I can't remember if I texted you this or Evan this. Did you notice the hollow sabacc that they showed in the show? Did you go back and look at it?
You texted me I believe the picture of the quick cameo of it. That was pretty sick.
So if that looks familiar to anybody, you can't really place it. That's actually from concept art of the Halcyon, that they're going to have some sort of virtual sabacc game, which is really smart, especially with COVID now. They're not having to use physical cards. I thought that was a cool little tie-in to the Halcyon because there hasn't been any news really other than like that first look at the hallway, which made me very claustrophobic but yet very excited. But yeah, I liked the episode a lot, and I do think the whole thing with Sid, if it's not gonna be this whole season, I'm glad they did wrap it up, because if they just disappeared from that and they just didn't address it, that would be odd. So in a way, it's a filler episode, but in a way too, it does continue to drive the story. So I thought it was a good episode. It's not in my top 3 or anything, but it was a solid episode. It actually made me like Omega more.
Thank you. Right? It's like every week they're doing something to make me like Omega more. At first, I really could care less about her, although you knew she was going to be something outside of just a regular clone, and being like essentially Jango Fett's daughter is right on the nose, makes sense now. But the Bad Batch is doing a good job. These writers, you got to give credit to them, doing a good job of making you interested in a character that I could have really given 2 shits about in the beginning.
Well, I mean, it's just mirrors Ahsoka. I mean, when Ahsoka first came out, no one gave a crap about Ahsoka Tano, and she's now one of the biggest characters in all of Star Wars. So I don't think that would happen with Omega, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
So, all right, what's next?
Star Wars Visions. We got ourselves a first look at Star Wars Visions, and we've got a confirmed series arrival date of September the 22nd, 2021. So this is all anime, right? So 7 studios involved. They made 9 shorts, and those shorts are named the following. So I don't know how you wanted to do this. I kind of purposely, I checked out the trailer and what they released, thought it was pretty cool. Anime is not typically my thing, but because it's Star Wars, I'm going to be all about this when it releases, right? So we can go down the titles of each of the shorts and maybe speculate what we think that might be about.
Yeah, that sounds good. I haven't seen the preview yet. I forgot to go back and watch this. I literally haven't had a chance today to do anything.
You're not
except ride a bike.
missing much. Like you're not missing much out of this discussion. Like it really, like I watched it and there was, some pretty cool anime and some pretty cool action sequences and just kind of talking to the studios that are involved. So it's
Okay.
really more of a hype.
So is this one of those things like they're doing with I forget what those those like micro shorts are called, but like they were like highly stylized versions of like Luke and Vader fighting on Bespin and all that kind of stuff. Is it like is it doing that where they're rehashing, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but rehashing like story points and reanimating them, or are these brand new stories in Star Wars that they're doing?
To my understanding, Star Wars Visions is like retelling of iconic Star Wars, stories. And then the other day I saw something asking if like Visions was Disney or on Disney Plus if it's canon or not. But I swear to God, these are like retell because, like the first Vision episode of The Duel. Like what's the first thing you think about when you think of The Duel?
Duel of the Fates. It's got to be.
Yep.
It's got to
exactly. The first thing I thought of was like, okay, it's going to be about Duel of the Fates. So that would be pretty cool retelling in anime form or style.
I mean, I don't know if you saw the one with Vader and Luke, but that was cool. Like, imagine a full sequence. Are these full episodes or they're shorts, right? So have they said how long?
Shorts.
Like 5-minute, 10-minute shorts?
I don't believe so. Let me double check my notes if I saw it. No, they're just calling them shorts. We don't have any run times on them yet.
Okay, are they all dropping on the same day, or are they going to come out weekly?
I believe they're following the weekly episodic release that
sucks.
Disney has.
Man,
I'm sorry. Nope. I take that back. They're all releasing on September 22nd.
Good.
My bad.
Awesome. That's the smart way to do this, because if you don't do that, people might not be as interested. If it's only like a 5-minute thing every week, people aren't going to. I don't know. That's a good move. All right, so we think the duel is going to be Duel of the Fates. Lop and Ocho. I'm racking my brain. Who could that be?
Lop and Ocho. I mean, the description, at least from what I saw in Wikipedia, was description is these are celebrating Star Wars through the lens of these anime creators and studios. So Lop and Ocho could be something new. Maybe like names of two aliens that are best buds that are kind of making their way through the galaxy or something. That's like the first thing I think of when I see Lop and Ocho, or two droids maybe.
That was my thought. Maybe two droids, or maybe like two bounty hunters.
Oh, okay.
That one's interesting. The next one is called Tatooine Rhapsody. I mean,
I think it's going to be on Tatooine. What do you think?
No, I think it's going to probably be on Jakku, just to confuse people.
Oh shit! I mean, you never know. Wake up in the middle of a pit of sand. You don't know if you're on Jakku or Tatooine.
Yeah, right. Or one of my favorite planets, Dantooine. Not really one of my favorite planets, but I just love that name. There was no thought put into that.
No, none at all. They're on Dantooine.
Dantooine. They're on Dantooine.
Tatooine Rhapsody. You think this is going to have anything to do with Luke or Anakin?
Rhapsody is of course, like anyone else, when I hear Rhapsody, I think of Bohemian Rhapsody. So,
yes.
My thought is this is going to be like a montage. So it could be like both. It could be like young Anakin and then Anakin coming back, and then it's, Luke growing up on Tatooine. Maybe we see like some young, well, not young Obi-Wan, but like Obi-Wan on Tatooine kind of thing. I don't know. I'm thinking you know what? I'm thinking of the word overture, aren't I?
Yes.
Overture is the word where it's like, it's a score term, but it's like taking pieces of all of the music from the film and or the musical piece and putting them in one kind of, I don't know. It could be something like that. I mean, it sounds cool. I don't know.
So that one's Rhapsody. Here's what I'm expecting it to be.
Scaramouche. Can you bullseye a womp rat? Dun, 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 dun. All right, what are you thinking?
Here's what I'm thinking Tatooine Rhapsody is going to be. It's going to be Anakin. It's going to be Luke. Or it might be Vader and Luke, Obi-Wan, and let's say R2-D2. They're all going to sing Bohemian Rhapsody together while on Tatooine.
I like it. I'm not mad at that.
Shot-for-shot remake of the music video. Or
Wayne's World.
We would get him a shot-for-shot remake of the Wayne's World,
Yeah.
the infamous Wayne's World scene
Yeah,
where they're in
I'm
Garth's
in.
car.
I'm in. All right, the next one is called The Twins.
I mean,
Gotta be Luke and Leia. Are we
Leia,
seeing
yeah.
like toddler Luke, toddler Leia, and like that? Because that's something we've never seen before.
Sure.
I would like.
We haven't seen Toddler Luke yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That one's interesting. And then the Elder.
Can I ask a question real quick about the back to the twins about
Yeah.
Leia specifically?
Yeah.
You've read Bloodlines. How old is she in Bloodlines? Is that the book where she's kind of like an early teenager?
No, you're thinking of Leia, Princess of Alderaan. Bloodlines
Yes.
is when Leia is running for like face of the Republic.
Okay.
Of the New Republic, maybe? Yeah, and then she gets, then they find out that she's related to Darth Vader, and they're like, nope. Which makes sense because he's basically Space Hitler, so you wouldn't want,
Yes.
Space Hitler's daughter running for president. It just would be very, especially now, it would be very odd
Yes.
in these times, just because they have the same last name or the same bloodline. Haha, there you go.
Hey,
What did you ask me? How
how old she was in the Leia, Princess of Alderaan book?
she's like a teenager, I think. I think she's like 13, 14, 15. I'd have to go back and look, but she's definitely romance teenager age because she has like a boyfriend in that book, which was very odd at first because when
What?
you think of Leia, you think Han and Leia. But that's honestly, man, one of my favorite Star Wars books ever. It's such a good book. It's either one or two. Like it's up there for me. That's such a good book.
Okay.
It's so good. That's like if I ever tell someone to like ask me about books, I'm like, you got to read that, and you have to read Lost Stars. I'm not as big of a fan of Lost Stars as everyone else is, but I think it does a good job of like canonizing a lot of stuff and
Okay.
making sense of a lot of stuff. It's a very long book, but it's good. But yeah, she's like
So
13 in that, so it could be that. I mean, I don't know. Again, could be like a anime montage of them kind of growing up on their respective planets. We could finally see Alderaan.
Oh, that would be spectacular. And I think obviously the twins are going to be that. And then the Elder, I know you made mention of it. Now, the twins and the Elder are being done by the same production company, Trigger.
Okay.
So I think the twins will obviously be about Luke and Leia, and the Elder, to me, that's got to be about Obi-Wan.
Yeah, 100%. That's the same thought I was on. It's got to
Yeah.
be Obi-Wan. Him being like a hermit on Tatooine. That's got to be what that is. I want to know what you think this next one is because I have a thought.
Oh God, when I saw this one, I tried to wrap my brain around what this could possibly be, and I kept the Village Bride sounds. What's the word I'm looking for? It's like you think old timey, you think the village whore. Like, like are they? It's like why would they do that? But then, and it's weird that my mind went that way. It's like old timey, like people ripping on somebody because of stories. But I'm getting off the beaten path here. The Village Bride. What could that be about? For whatever reason, Padme's was the first one that came to my mind with this, and I don't know why.
It's not a bad.
Could this be her secret preparation for her, nuptials that nobody was supposed to know about?
That'd be interesting. I had two thoughts. My first initial thought was Chief Chirpa, Ewok Village, getting married.
Yeah. Okay.
That was my first thought, and then my other thought would have been maybe Shmi Skywalker. She got married. I don't know. I'm trying to think of people who got married. That's just where I didn't even think about Padme, but that. You know what? Yours is better. See Ewoks get married. Jesus Christ. But the only reason I say it might be that is because next year is going to be the 40th of, or is it next year or the year after that? 83. So it's going to be the next year. That wouldn't make any sense then because it would be say it's about to tie into the 40th of Return of the Jedi, which is insane. But I don't know. That's just where my brain goes because they always call it the Ewok Village. They've never really used that name anywhere else that I can think of in canon. So that's just kind of where I don't even know if they call it that in the movies. It's just called that from like toys and stuff. But,
yeah,
I actually think that's what the HasLab project is going to be, is because it's going to release in 2023, and it could be Ewok Village because that was like an iconic Star Wars toy playset, And I think them doing like a HasLab version of it would be pretty cool for Black Series. But that's just a thought. This next one, dude, I have no idea.
I
I don't even know how to say it.
neither do I.
Akakiri?
Akiri?
Akakiri.
Akiri? Yeah, Akakiri.
Akakiri. Akiri.
That's
Akakiri. Akakiri. Yeah, that's all I keep saying. Akakiri. I don't know.
this one.
Any idea?
This one in TO-B1 are being done by the production company Science Saru.
You know what I want to do before these come out? I'd like to go watch some stuff from each one of the production companies.
Agreed.
And kind of see like if they have a different. I mean, obviously they'll have different tones, different vibes, and kind of see their tone and style and vibe, and kind of go, oh, I could see them doing that, and then come back and re-looking at the list and seeing what they do. But TOB1's obviously some sort of droid.
Oh yeah.
And I think they're going to call him Toby.
Easy. Yeah, Toby.
Toby, TOB1. And
Bob
then,
one.
and then this last one is of all of the names, the most interesting to me. The Ninth Jedi. Are we talking like literally the Ninth Jedi, like High Republic times? Or are we talking like, how many people are on the Jedi Council?
Are there 9?
I thought there was 8. And then they grant him a seat on the council, but not the rank of master.
True.
And so I'm wondering if the Ninth Jedi is Anakin.
That's a great call out, because this one intrigues me the most, but I absolutely have no idea what it's about.
I might watch this one first when the show drops in September. This might be the first one I go to. But that's interesting, man. I'm curious, if nothing else.
Yeah, same here.
This was not one that this show wasn't anything I was like looking way forward to, but like now that it's coming close, I'm like, okay, I'm interested. I mean, if I can get into the High Republic, I can get into anything, because I was very, very adamant about like not being interested. But I also caveated and said, once it's here, I'm sure I'll love it. But I was never excited about it. But I'm not like ecstatic about these. But these could be cool. Could be cool little pieces of Star Wars. I'm in.
Yeah, bring it on. I anything Star Wars really right now is just going to be, I'm going to ingest it very fully, and if I don't like it, I don't like it. If I can't get past like the anime, then it is what it is. I respect the hell, and I love the fact that they're letting these studios take a stab at what they do best and celebrate Star Wars. I think that's pretty freaking cool.
I'm in, dude. I'm with you 100%. Moving on to the next story, some more Boba Fett stuff has come out this week, which made me think the whole Book of Boba Fett thing, or I'm sorry, the Slave One nonsense was just to get people to talk about Book of Boba Fett. Could have been, I wouldn't be surprised. But this is interesting. So the Book of Boba Fett stuntman / stand-in Brendan Wayne said Book of Boba Fett will be grittier than Mandalorian. And speaking of Mando, this same stuntman said he thinks that Season 3 will be a lot more like Season 1. Discuss. Okay. First off, it being grittier than Mando that's pretty intense.
Right?
That's insane. That show was dark, man. Especially the
Mando
first season.
was gritty for Star Wars.
Very. Yeah. I mean, I remember when the first episodes were coming out and we were talking about them each week. I kept saying it reminded me, especially like the first 3 episodes, especially episode 3, reminded me a lot of like how Batman is portrayed in the Dark Knight series, where he's lurking behind things and like coming in quick. You don't really get a good glimpse of him, and then he's out. They did that a lot, and I mean a lot, in The Mandalorian, especially that. I think it was episode 3, where he's going back to get Grogu before he runs off. But as far as Book of Boba Fett being like Mandalorian Season 1, I don't want that. I don't know what I want from a Boba Fett show, but I don't want another anthology. Hey, Boba, can you help us with this other Alaskan bullworm thing from SpongeBob that we have on Tatooine? I forget, the Crate Dragon. Can you help us with the Tusken Raider problem we have? Like, I don't want that. I was actually kind of hoping that he was going to go and start taking out other Fetts and like trying to become like the crime boss over Jabba the Hutt. That's kind of what I was hoping for from this, but it doesn't sound like that's what we're going to, unless that is the plot and, he's going from planet to planet taking out Hutts. That could be interesting. But I don't know. What do you think?
With Book of Boba Fett, well, like you said, if it's going to be grittier than Mando, then is this thing going to have like an R rating on it when it's released on Disney Plus? I mean, Mando got real quick. What's your favorite Mando, like grittiest Mando moment that you love? Like that's your favorite? Because I've got one.
The grittiest moment.
Sure, grittiest or just like one moment that kind of made you go, "Oh my god."
I have two, and they're for me. It's like one of them I saw at Celebration, so it's kind of cheating. But the first one is when they had like the Salacious B. Crumb guys roasting on a spit. Like they opened with that shot at Celebration.
That's
Like
cool.
that's the first shot. So every time I think of Mandalorian, that's what I think of now. But that I think it's that episode 3 where he's just murking those people, or it's the season finale where like all those explosions are going off and they're just like really hammering them in that bunker thing. Any
Yeah.
of those 3 moments are just insane for me. What's yours?
When Cara Dune shoots the one guy holding the scientist hostage right in the face.
That's a good one.
Just like I mean, not only loving every minute of it, like it made me go, holy crap. So,
That's
anyway,
a good one. That's a good one. I don't want
getting
Mando
off.
season 3 to be like one at all.
No, I don't. I don't. And Book of Boba Fett needs to be. I think I heard that we're going to get a little bit of how he got out of the Sarlacc pit first and foremost, which fine. Like it makes sense, I guess. I mean, you could tell that story elsewhere, I suppose, but
Oh,
I'm
I just
sure.
hang on a second. I just realized I read that wrong. I thought he was saying Book of Boba Fett will be more like season 1 of
Oh no,
Mandalorian.
no, no.
Oh, okay. I misread that. Okay, so I take back what I said. I still want to see him go around killing other Fets, but sorry, I misread this. My apologies. My brain is not working today.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, yeah. Book of Boba Fett's got to be grittier. And the stuntman said he thinks the third season of Mandalorian is going to be like the first season of Mandalorian.
Boo.
Yeah. That's
Boo.
not too. There's way too much to do in the third season of Mandalorian. You have to explore the Bo-Katan, trying to get the Darksaber back first and foremost. That has to. And how the hell is that? That's a big story. How the hell is that going to be like the first season where basically every episode in the first season was like its own like thing. I mean, there was connectivity to it, obviously, but each episode felt like its own episode, right?
See, I think 1, 2, and 3 felt like a movie, and then after that is where it all kind of fell apart. Not fell apart in a bad way, but just the consistency of like story importance from episode to episode wasn't the same. Like he blatantly, like I've always said this, the Bryce Dallas Howard episode I've only seen once or twice. I hate that episode so much because they do what I hate. He runs away from the child and then he's like, all right, well I'm just gonna leave him here on the ship for a little bit, unattended. I'm just gonna go hang out with this chick in the woods for a little bit. Like none of it equated to what we saw in the first 3 episodes. So that bothers me. But I don't even know if Grogu's going to be in the show this season, man. I think he's gone, and I think what you're going to get is an amazing. I think they're going to do 4 seasons of Mando, and I think the amazing thing you're going to get, the next like holy shit moment in Mandalorian, is going to be Grogu reaching out through the Force to talk to Mando, or like sending some sort of hollow message of shit going down at Luke's temple, and I think that's how the show ends. It's him showing up, and either he's gone or he rescues them, and then they go into hiding again. So that's what I think.
I would almost prefer to see Mando like die. I'd almost prefer to see Din Djarin just die there, so we know he gets a fitting ending. Like I don't want to see him die, but save Grogu, sacrifice your life for him, so you get a fitting ending.
Yeah.
I mean, you keep him alive, then they keep some options for him showing up later, and down the line. But
not every character needs to show up later.
You're right. You're right.
Sometimes
they don't.
tell the story, be done. And I think there's no fitting ending for Din Djarin than him sacrificing himself for Grogu, so Grogu can get away. I mean, that's the whole point of the show. So Ahsoka shows up to try to help or something. And he's getting blasted down by the Knights of Ren, or they're just whooping his ass, and I think that would be an amazing way to send off Mando.
How much Luke do you want in Mando season 3?
None.
Yeah, none.
Okay. If you're gonna do it, and let's just assume my story is the story they're gonna tell. It's not. It never is. Mm-hmm. But let's assume my story. It would be amazing to save that and show it like the last 3 episodes of season 2, almost to like where you forget about it, like they don't address it, they don't talk about it. Like, of course, they're going to have to address where Grogu is if anyone else sees him, the outside of the people that help save him. But I think the Cara Dune thing is going to be a weird departure for season 3. She's such a main part of the show.
I agree.
It's a weird
I
one.
mean, they could easily. I mean, they probably won't even mention her whatsoever, or if they do, they'll kill her off, or they'll say she's off doing something on Navarro.
Oh, they'll kill her off. Make no mistake.
Yeah, it's too bad.
She was shot
Really
down by
too bad.
Moff Gideon. I was like, no, she wasn't. No, he escaped, and yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he escaped and used his special moth powers and
Ugh.
killed Cara Dune, then jumped into a Sarlacc pit. He'll never be back.
Yeah, I want to see more of Moff Gideon too. I mean, like his story's not. There's so much that they could do with season 3, and it's silly to say like I'm not hopeful for season 3, but like when you had that ending, and then just be like, all right, we're gonna go from planet to planet. You know, he's gonna go help people again. Like, why? He doesn't have a ship. The big bad guy of the show is caught up. The story between those two is complete. Like he's gone now. Now what? Now what? Oh, he's just going to go hop around from planet to planet, back to being a bounty hunter. That is so anticlimactic and boring.
Yeah.
I want to see them go and help fight Mandalore, or wherever the hell Mandalore is. We don't even know if Mandalore is a planet right now, or if it's just like a Matrix kind of underground ragtag team of Matrix. Was it Matrix Revolution? Matrix Revolution, like underground city. Like it could be something like that. Like what is? I want to know more about that. You've opened that door. Let's walk through it.
Yes, please. I mean, I think it was Boba Fett that told Bo-Katan that it turned into glass or turned into dust, something like that.
It was glass.
So
You're right.
Does
it
it
was
exist? Yeah. Does it exist? Does it not? Yeah. There's too much in season 3 that needs to be addressed. That it should not be like season 1. If he goes back to being a bounty hunter, like let it happen for like the first 10 minutes of the first episode. Like, oh, he can't find himself. He's lost, so he went back to bounty hunting. But now he ran into Fennec Shand and they need him or something. I don't know. Something stupid like that.
Yeah, even like intertwine it with Boba Fett. Have him go to Tatooine and talk to Boba, and maybe he gets some information from Boba Fett. I want to see this stuff cross over more, because I feel like they're trying to do like lightly what the MCU did. It kind of feels like they're setting up all this interwoven stuff. Like all the stuff that was announced was all stuff we've seen already. So it's like they're kind of trying to spin off and do MCU, but like Star Wars is the original MCU because all the stuff took place in the same universe and it's the same timeline, which Marvel wrote themselves into a corner. I'm telling you, they're having to undo it now. But I haven't watched the newest episode of Loki yet. So was it? We'll talk since I brought it up. Was it good? Did you like it?
Yeah. Was it like my top? In my top 2? Probably not, but it was a lot better than Lamentis.
Good,
like,
okay.
So much better than Lamentis. So
okay.
Yeah, it moves the story further and has a pretty fun character in it. So
cool. All right.
Let me know after you see it.
Because that one ended with like all the weird Lokis, right? The one before.
All the variants, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that because that was where we were going. All right. Let's get to this one here. I want you to read this because I didn't even know this was a thing until you brought it up. Like I knew it was, but I didn't know they released an excerpt. I don't even know how to say that word properly. Excerpt.
Yeah.
Excerpt. I always say it wrong. So go ahead with this next one. What's going on? New Star Wars book, you say?
New Star Wars book, I do say. Star Wars is now offering the Sith perspective, and I'm always down for a Sith perspective of things because there's always two sides to every story. So they're offering the Sith.
You're telling me?
I am telling you. We're offering the Star Wars is now offering the Sith perspective of the Chosen One prophecy, which is detailed in the upcoming book, Star Wars: Secret of the Sith. Say that really fast, like 5 times in a row.
Star Wars: Secret of the Sith. 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 Star Wars: Secret of the Sith.
Ah, he did it. Look at that.
Yes, I didn't. I thought I was going to fail.
So Star Wars: Secret of the Sith is a large volume of knowledge about the Sith and their practice. It's told through the writings of one Darth Sidious. So,
sweet.
Yeah, an excerpt. Anakin was believed by the Jedi to be a virgins, an entity surrounded by a rare concentration of Force energy. And this was written by Palpatine himself. They even convinced themselves that the child was the Chosen One, described in an ancient Jedi prophecy. So certain were they that Anakin would bring balance to the Force, they failed to consider what that might truly mean. So I was giving this a lot of thought, and I think I'm going to subscribe to the point and the fact that the Sith prophecy is more accurate than what the Jedi prophecy was.
Well, clearly.
Because Anakin really did bring balance to the Force. It was pretty fucking heavy on the light side before he yeeted all those younglings right to purgatory.
Yeah. That might be my favorite thing that's ever been said on the show. Oh my god. Oh my god. My head is. I'm lightheaded. I was laughing so hard at that. Holy shit! Yeeted those younglings straight to purgatory. Oh my god! I want that on a T-shirt. Oh god. All right. Sorry, I'm crying
Let's
laughing.
do it.
Jesus Christ. Whew. That might have to be a T-shirt for real. Just quote, and then like your name on it. Oh my god.
Or it should be the title of the episode.
Just Jedi talk. Oh, that's funny. Oh, you need credit for that though. That's too funny. All right.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Jesus Christ.
So yeah, well, what I was saying is like, I'm more on the Sith side of this because the Force was pretty damn light heavy, especially High Republic era, and everything that we saw in the prequels up until Order 66 when Anakin he did bring balance to the Force. I mean, there weren't incredibly too many Siths running around. I mean, there is the rule of two, so we had Darth Sidious and we had Darth Vader. But outside of that, once they were trying to even then, outside of you had force wielding inquisitors too. So I'm sure there was some balance with Sith inquisitors and the Jedi who did survive 66. But what do you think, Brad?
I don't know, man. I've always thought that the whole prophecy thing was like unnecessary in Star Wars because I honestly feel like it's just like a throwaway line. Like it was like just Qui-Gon trying to say that they needed him. Like it's the prophecy, and they're like, okay, well you can't doubt that. So like I don't know. I don't know, man. I've never been big on the whole prophecy thing because if that were the case and the prophecy was real, right? A, where did it come from? B, why did the Jedi reign supreme for all this time in the High Republic up until one dude was like, I'm going to take over the government? It just doesn't make sense. And like, what does balance mean? Because like, if we're talking about pure straight balance, I mean, does that mean there's equal number of light side users and equal number of dark side users? Or does it mean the power is balanced, like the abilities in the Force is balanced? Because I think we could both agree the power that Palpatine has in Return of the Jedi is not anywhere near close to what Luke has.
God, no.
I mean, like, it's not, so that's unbalanced. I mean, we could even talk about Rise of Skywalker. I mean, Ben dies. It always seems like balance means the good guys win, and I don't know if that's the right way to look at it, but I also just don't know. Like, because it's always about bring balance to the Force, meaning we kill all the Sith. That doesn't make sense to me either. I'm actually kind of hoping at some point, like, there's, a bunch of, I mean, we know that there's Sith on Exegol and stuff, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking like prior to that story, like maybe before maybe in like Mando time frame, that there's like a hideout of Sith loyalists that are not connected to the Exegol thing, that like don't know what's going down. The same way like remnant stormtroopers, like I want remnant Sith. I don't know. Yeah. It never really made sense to me that balance meant that you're all gone. Like that's kind of, I hate to, bring up real life politics, but that's kind of what it feels like now. It's like, nope, anything that you think that isn't what I think is right, and that's because I'm righteous. It's like, well, you can't just silence everybody and destroy everything you don't agree with or like because you think you're right, because then you're doing what you say you hate. And that's kind of how I feel about the Jedi. It's like the Jedi were wrong in a lot of things. It was like, well, we're just going to kill all you guys because that's, light is right. And I'm like, I don't know about that. So I've never really put too much thought. It sounds like I've never really put too much thought into the prophecy, but I just kind of dismiss it as like a throwaway line, to be honest with you. But clearly it's not that in Star Wars. So what do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely not a throwaway line. And I think of what Yoda said, like, and I'm going to butcher the quotes. I'm not even going to try, but he basically alluded to maybe reading the prophecy wrong.
Yeah, misread the prophecy has been, or something like that. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe Qui-Gon knew all along. And if Qui-Gon survived, that probably, him dying was probably part of the prophecy too. But if he survived and Maul was defeated by both Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, maybe Anakin would have turned out differently. But it's almost fate, right? But the Force probably still needed balance, even if Anakin never turned and turned into Darth Vader. And I think balance in this aspect for Star Wars is more balance of power, like you were alluding to. And you're right. You can bring real world things into this where you have balance of right versus left in, politics and pushing agendas, and one side saying one thing, one side saying the other. This is the same thing with the Sith and the Jedi. The Sith saw the prophecy one way, the Jedi saw it the other way. They were both wrong. I think they were both wrong. And Anakin brought some balance to the Force by way of like sheer numbers, but power shifted dramatically. So there still was not balanced out. It went from Jedi directly pretty much to Sith almost immediately when the Empire was in power. And it took a while. It's probably as close as it's ever going to be. Is there to be balance in the Force now, post Episode 9? But you never know.
But even that's not balanced. I mean, unless there's some Sith out there that we don't know. Like, that's what it seems like. The Force isn't very self-correcting with its own rules. Like, there has to be balance, but there never is. So how does there have to be if there never is? I don't know.
It's real interesting. I don't know. I mean, it'd be good to see more of, Darth Sidious's side of things and what he, his full take on what the prophecy is. Outside of everything else Sith related, I am down for that.
I'm down for this book. I mean, it sounds interesting. Like, having writings from Palpatine is just like, that's creepy. That he had like a Dear Diary. Today I turned Anakin to the dark side. Oh, what a day it was. Like, that's funny to me.
He was wearing a green turnip colored pockets. I gave him a lily pad.
He killed 14 children. What a magical day. What a magical day. Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested in the book. I mean, me, I love all the Star Wars books. I'm definitely going to check this out. I actually want to let people know, because I've been pretty vocal about like having a physical library. I'm actually switching back to audio because I just don't have time to read. I'm in the middle of a Thrawn book that I've been reading for like 6 months, and I'm still where I'm at because I literally have not had time to sit down and read a book. I'm just going to switch to audiobooks for a while, I think. And if I like the book enough, if you hear me say I bought it physically too, listeners, that means I really, really liked the book. I mean, we'll give reviews of everything too, but audiobooks are fun too. They sound like you're listening to a Star Wars movie. They're great.
Nice.
All right, is that it? Or no, there's one more thing.
Oh, there was one more thing before our top 10 list, and this was really more. I was hoping to talk with Evan too, and I know we had teased a little bit, and it's funny because he ended up in the news today specifically about. I'm talking about my Lord and Savior, Zack Snyder, who you'll hear me bring up quite often on this TV show. Oh my God, on this podcast or on my podcast, The Fourth Mother Box. Thank you very much.
What about your TV show? Are you gonna bring it up on your TV show?
I'll bring it up on my TV show too, whenever the hell that happens. We'll turn Ginger Snaps into a live TV show where I just get really pissed off and yell at the TV the whole time for 30 minutes.
We could do our own version of Impractical Jokers called Ginger Snaps, where it's just me telling you what to say to people angrily.
I could do that.
I'm down.
Like Courtney and I will be in like Walmart, Target, Safeway, and I will yell things out like 3 aisles over just to embarrass the hell out of her and like get her to laugh.
Holly does this thing with me with people where we're walking by them, and she'll be like, I really wish you would stop hitting me in the face. And just
That's
like say horrible shit like that. I'm like, God, hey. And she hasn't done it in a while, but she used to do it all the time. She's like, well, what do you think was going to happen? Or I'll do it. I started doing it to her too. I'm like, well, what do you think was going to happen? Of course I'm going to sleep with your sister. Like, we'll just say ridiculous shit to each other like that. Yeah. It's so fun. And then we turn a corner and we see people looking at us and we're just laughing hysterically. It's so funny.
It's so funny you mention that. I don't know if you've ever seen the Impractical Jokers live, but when you see them live, they talk about like they encourage people to play games just like the one you and Holly do, like when you're out and about and just like doing it with your friends.
Me and my brother used to nose people.
Oh my God. I wouldn't recommend that going forward with, COVID and everything.
Yeah. We used to do it all the time.
That's spectacular.
Like, go nose that guy. Oh, we used to do that all the time. So funny.
So I was talking about Zack Snyder, and news actually released today. And like I said, I want to do more of a deep dive. And could Snyder give us a good Star Wars movie with Evan?
Do you want to save this? And we'll talk about the news, but save the discussion? Because I still don't know yet. Okay.
Yeah, and because I know you've got plans to watch the Zack Snyder's Justice League coming up.
Oh
So,
yeah.
and so with the news today that dropped was Rebel Moon is Zack Snyder's next full length feature film that's going to be exclusively on Netflix, following up his Army of the Dead.
It's called Rebel
Um,
Moon.
yes,
Is it based on
and
anything, or is it an original idea?
original.
Okay.
It's original idea. It's inspired heavily by Star Wars. This story started out as Snyder's Star Wars pitch that he pitched to Lucasfilm about 10 or 11 years ago.
What?
Yeah. So this story, it's basically what it started out at. I mean, obviously, different characters, different story. I'm sure things will change, but this is what it started out as. In 2012, he pitched the story, and this was before he did Man of Steel. This was before Batman vs Superman. This is before anything. I think he had like Watchmen was out, Sucker Punch, all those things. So he was known, but he didn't get into the comic world. Well, the he got into DC with
The
Watchmen,
DC,
but he didn't
yeah.
do like Superman and Batman yet.
Not the
So
not the high not, like because now if you do any kind of comic movie, it's like almost a guaranteed hit. Like people, I remember
Yeah.
people like being. I was confused by Watchmen the first time I saw it. I was like, "What is this?" And I like the movie a lot, but
yeah,
it's
good movie.
it's really really good. But I could see how a studio would be like, "No,"
Mhm.
at the time because
Well,
they're so stylized. Those movies.
well, here's what I'm not saying it was going to happen, but this is around the time that Disney bought Lucasfilm, so I think they didn't want the dark, they didn't want the gritty, they didn't want because Snyder had said his take was going to be very like Seven Samurai inspired, very old Western, keeping true to the source material, but it was going to be darker and meant for a more mature audience.
Interesting. I feel like I think Disney when they first brought Star Wars, they're like, nope, let's worry about 7, 8, 9, then we'll do other stuff. And I think like
Yeah.
the Rogue One and the Solo thing, what they thought were going to be like, Rogue One did really well, and that's kind of a dead end story. You can't really do much with that after that. But I really think they intended Solo to be a franchise, like its own spin-off franchise. But yeah, I could see how them at the time being like, no, we don't really want a dark Star Wars movie right now. Thanks. In our parks, we still have Mickey Jedi and Darth Vader Goofy. I don't think we want, super dark and gray. I think it's that thought has changed a little bit, and it bums me out that he didn't like just save that for a while. But now I'm going to watch this movie 100%. I'm very curious.
Oh, me too. I'm very much looking forward to it
When
more
does
than I
this
was
come out?
with Army of the Dead. Oh boy. I don't believe there's been a release date yet.
Okay.
If I want to guess, I'm going to say late 2022 or 2023.
Oh, it's that far
It's
off?
his next
okay.
movie. It's his next movie. Let me see if I can use the magic of the internet and get a release date for it. But it's his next movie, obviously follow up to Army of the Dead. Have you seen Army of the Dead?
I have not. I've never even heard of it.
I don't
How
know
about that?
Okay, it garnished 70. It broke the record on Netflix for as many downloads and views. Like it owns the top spot.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah,
won
we don't
everybody
have
back
it.
with that Snyder cut, man. That was such a. Even if the movie wasn't great, I think people would have said it was just because they love him so much.
Oh, and it's still got its hate. It's from the Zack Snyder haters who are living out there, living and breathing, and Zack is living rent free in their head. Everything he does, they're not going to look at it and try to pan it. And people tried to pan Snyder's cut or the Justice League, but to tie things back to Star Wars, the light went out of the dark here.
That's people with Ryan Johnson, man. Everyone's like, I didn't even like that episode of Breaking Bad. I'm like, yes, you did. Shut up.
Yes, you did.
You're
Yes,
full
you
of
did.
shit and you're lying because you didn't like one movie because you were told not to like it.
That's true. So yeah, so
Idiots.
Evan, please, if you're listening, hopefully you're listening.
Which we know you are.
Yeah, catch up on as much Snyder as you can. Hit me up. Send me a text if you need like must watches before we talk, because I really want to get your thoughts on if you think Zach should direct a Snyder or Zach should direct a Star Wars movie, or even hell, I don't know if he's too big for a Mandalorian episode. I mean, that would be pretty fun too.
I don't think so, man. I mean, friggin' Robert Rodriguez did one.
That's true.
That's a. I mean, I almost said Chiwetel Ejiofor. Jesus Christ! What am I? Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi did some. So I don't.
That's right.
I don't think he's.
You're right.
I don't think anybody's too. I think that whole like no, it's TV is like done now. I think people really respect it, maybe even more in some cases. I mean, I can't think of a movie where I would go, yeah, that would have been, or I'm sorry, I can't think of, yeah, okay, I can't think of a movie that I watched and would go, yeah, that wouldn't have worked as good as an 8-part series because you could always dive deeper into those characters.
Mm-hmm.
So I think TV is like the best form of like the best way to tell a story other than like a novel. I think novel is still number one, but it's just so
Oh, I would
exhausting to
agree.
read.
You've got so
To
much more
read.
room to do it in a novel. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think past that it's TV because there's just so much you can do with it. I mean, you could literally do like imagine if like even just Star Wars: A New Hope. Let's say they announced they're redoing it as a TV show. There's so much more detail you could go into with that. I mean, I'm not saying it would be better, but it could be done. You know what I mean? It's really
Mm-hmm.
hard to like make a movie out of the Mandalorian.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
So
and A New Hope, you could explain how Luke, and we were just talking about this today, how he blows up a Death Star with not ever flying anything before in his life. So
yeah,
you could explore that a lot more in a TV show or even a novel.
yeah, he doesn't fly the Millennium Falcon. He doesn't fly a starship at any point in the movie. The only time you see him pilot anything is the little land speeder on Tatooine. I will say he is pretty accurate when he's shooting down those X-wing or the Tie fighters. When he's shooting down the Tie fighters in the Falcon, so I will give him that. But yeah, for people, this is a different argument. For people who complain about Rey being a Mary Sue, A, look up the definition of what a Mary Sue is, and B, everything and then some applies to Luke Skywalker. All
Yep.
right, you ready for our top 10?
I am ready for our top 10 Star Wars planets.
Okay, I really got to start asking you this before we do the show, but how did you do this? Did you do this as like just personal favorites, or did you look like a planet that embodies some storytelling aspect of the movie or the show or whatever you're picking out? How did you go about picking the top 10?
Really, they were really, when I was making this list, I was thinking personal favorites.
Okay, I did a little bit of both. There's a few on here that like
Okay.
I think are cool, but like not personal favorites.
Okay.
But I think they did a good job of like expanding the Star Wars universe. And so a few of those, those are closer to the bottom of my list. But I'm gonna let you go first. What I don't have any honorable mentions this time. At least I don't think I did.
Oh,
Let me double check.
I have an honorable mention.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, I have 10. What's your honorable mention? Let's
Okay.
hear it.
I do have an honorable mention. This one's a shout out to my wife, Courtney, because I asked her what her favorite planet was, and she said the one with the Ewoks on it and the forest one. And then I was like, well, that's technically a forest moon, and I had to get actually.
Actually, it's not a planet. Planets have their own orbits. Moon orbit around planets. So, in fact, what you said was factually inaccurate and canonically inaccurate.
That's exactly what I sounded like when I corrected her. So, but I wanted to put it on here as an honorable mention because when you say Endor, this is what you're talking about. You're talking about the forest moon of Endor. You're not talking about the actual Endor planet. I think it's on the outer rim, right? I think everything's on the outer rim.
Pretty much in the original trilogy, everything's on the outer rim.
Yeah. So, Forest Moon of Endor gets my honorable mention. And
Beautiful.
I'll jump right into my number 10. And number 10 for me, I guess, like I said, personal favorites, but maybe I fit a little bit to what I love too about Star Wars into this. But number 10, I am going to go with Tatooine. From an aesthetic point of view, looks like shit. There's sand everywhere. Okay. And there's like crate dragons and pirates that are trying to murder you. So outside of that, unless you're a moisture farmer, you're really not going to make it on Tatooine. But I love it because it has my favorite Jedi, the home of my favorite Jedi. If we don't have Tatooine, we don't have Anakin Skywalker. So I had to put Tatooine on there, and I wanted to put it at number 10.
Beautiful. That's a solid reason and a solid number 10. My number 10 falls into more of like the expanding the universe. Is Jeddah from Rogue One, a movie that I like notoriously don't love, but I think that they just did it could have a Jedi planet. I don't love the name. But a Jedi planet could have been really corny, and I think they did it really, really well. I love the aesthetic. I think the aesthetic comes into play at Galaxy's Edge. I love that whole look. I think it's just a cool planet. I want to know more about the planet itself, because we know that's not where Jedi really went to get Kyber crystal, because they go to Ilum. So at least in the part we know. So I'm thinking that Jeddah's going to make an appearance in the High Republic at some point. And I just I like when I'm reading a book to know the planet, A, not have to look it up, and B, not have to wonder what it looks like. I already kind of know. So I chose Jeddah for my number 10.
Great planet. Just like we said, that's what Batu looks like.
Yeah, that little marketplace area looks just like Jeddah.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. All right, what's your number 9?
Number 9, and you called this out on me earlier, but Braca
I'm
is
surprised it's this low.
Well, it's look, Braca is where, Cal was when Order 66 happened, right? And everybody, if you haven't listened before and this is your first Jedi Talk episode, I am a Jedi Fallen Order Cal Kestis stan. Like, I love him. He's a ginger. I'm a ginger. So, this is one of the only ones we've got out there outside of General Hux, and Hux is kind of a little, I don't know, prick sometimes.
He's a weasel. He's like the perfect ginger.
Oh, it's lucky he didn't say that in person. Kidding, of course. Number 9. Number 9's Braca. Because this is, again, planet that Cal was on. They were about to leave when Order 66 went down. They just got new orders. They were going to a different planet. Order 66 happened. He had to go hide, so he chilled on Braca for 5 years. And this is where he starts and eventually finds Siri and the Mantis and Grease and gets off the planet forever. But I love it because it's pretty much Cal's home. It's where one of my favorite Jedi come from. He's the youngest Jedi Knight, and he comes from Braca. He really grew up. He had to join the Scrappers Guild just to make ends meet. So Braca's pretty cool. And we saw it in the Bad Batch again. So and we got to learn more about the Scrappers Guild. So that's why it lands number 9.
You know what I was thinking about yesterday when I was playing Jedi Fallen Order? I started it over, and I really appreciated how fun the game is. I just went through it too quick, I think, the first go around.
Yeah.
Which is what I do with all Star Wars crap. I just run it into the ground the second I can. They didn't make a visual dictionary, and they didn't make an art of book for Fallen Order.
Oh, I would love that.
Do you own any of the art of books?
No, but after you've talked about the Art of the Galaxy's Edge, you're gonna get pissed off at that. And God, now I want an Art of Fallen Order.
I know. I really want one really bad. But Braca's a good one, man. That's a solid pick. Do we know what planet Cal was born on? Did they say that at all in the game?
No, they do not.
Huh. Okay.
If they do, if they mentioned it, I missed it because there's still so much in that game.
Okay. I always thought of Braca as like the anti-Corellia, where Corellia is where they build all the cool stuff, and Braca's where it goes to rot. That's kind of how I always looked at Braca. My number 9 hails from the planet, the show The Mandalorian, and
Ooh.
I just loved this whole look of this planet. They're actually doing a playset for the vintage collection of this, and I'm gonna buy this 100%. And that is Navarro.
Nice.
That planet just kicks ass all around. It's so weird and gritty, and there's weird creatures, and the cantina is a cool, unique take on the cantina. At this point, we've seen how many cantinas in Star Wars, and this one somehow stood out. It's also where you see that dude get cut in half. That's Navarro, right? The beginning of Mando?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Navarro. Yeah.
Yeah. That if it's not Navarro and I'm misnaming the planet, please someone comment on the video or Instagram me and just let me know I'm wrong. But I'm talking about the planet from the very first episode of The Mandalorian. I think that's Navarro. I'm pretty sure it is. If it's not, then that's the planet I'm talking about. But yeah, I love that planet. I just think it does a really, really good job of setting the tone and the grittiness of The Mandalorian while also still being familiar with, making it feel familiar because it's in Star Wars. So I just love that planet.
Perfect. My number, and if it is Navarro, I'm going to assume it's Navarro. I love that, and almost put Navarro on here, and I don't know why I didn't. Number 8 is, and there might be some recency bias here since they just visited this planet in the last episode of the Bad Batch, but Raxus. Learning more about Raxus, just knowing that it's a separatist senate, it's the separatist senate headquarters, and it was just gorgeous when they were able to show the actual aesthetic of the actual planet itself. It reminded me, and Raxus reminds me of all the things I loved about the prequels. So that's why it lands at number 8.
Gotcha. That's a good one. My number 8 is actually a prequel planet as well, and it's Naboo.
Oh, nice.
Naboo is just a cool planet. To me, Naboo even though I always say this, and I feel like I'm wrong on this, but I don't think we've ever seen what Alderaan looked like in Star Wars. But I've always kind of figured it looked kind of like Naboo, and
That's what I assume too.
so I just kind of feel like Naboo and Alderaan are kind of the same. But Naboo, I mean, they filmed it like it's real. Naboo is like in Italy, right? Didn't they film most of the stuff from Theed in Italy? So like, I really want to go to where it's the Amalfi Coast, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to go there so bad. It's so beautiful. Also, I love when they can make real life feel like Star Wars. Like, I just think that is so freaking cool. Like, I know that there's actually like you can rent the Luke Skywalker Tatooine homestead. You can rent a room there, and it's like stupid cheap in Tunisia. Yeah, it's like stupid cheap in Tunisia, and they still have the crate dragon out in the desert still out there. That's just so cool. But yeah, Naboo is such a friggin' cool planet. It's just so gorgeous. It just oozes elegance. And to me, there's two planets that remind me of like the prequel trilogies, and that's one of them.
Mm-hmm. Naboo's a little bit further down my list, but yeah, everything that you just said and then some.
It's beautiful.
And of course, I love Padme, and obviously Naboo. That's where she's at.
Yeah.
So number 7. Mandalore, whether it exists currently, present day or not, I still love Mandalore a lot. Is it gritty? Does it look the best? No, but the last 4 episodes of season 7 in the Clone Wars, which I've raved about before, have really made me love Mandalore some more. I just love the story behind the Darksaber and just ruling a set of people just with a power grab, just by wielding a laser sword, literally a laser sword.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the darkness and the secrecy behind what, ruling Mandalore might look like, and if Mandalore truly doesn't exist, it makes me even more interesting that Bo-Katan wants Darksaber back so bad. Like, who is she trying to have power over?
Yeah.
That badly.
I thought the same thing when we were watching that. I'm like, well, if Mandalore doesn't exist, why do you want the Darksaber so bad? What is the reason? I would assume it's probably just like lineage. I don't know. Maybe somewhere before, maybe pre-Vizsla just kind of made up that he, revisionist history. Oh, I made the Darksaber, and really it's Bo-Katan's family did. I don't know. My number, what was it, 7 is
7.
Is a stark contrast to your number 7, Scarif from Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
I really love this planet. I thought it was really cool to see. I love when Star Wars introduces new stuff that you go like, oh, I've never seen that before. They did it a lot with, and this is not on my list, but like because it's not a planet, but what's Paul Bettany's character? Why can't I think of his name? In Solo, Dryden Voss.
Paul Bettany.
Dryden Voss.
Yep, Dryden Voss.
His like elegant starship thing, like they've never really done the high end stuff in Star Wars. I guess they did with Canto Bight a little bit, but you don't really get to see the fancy stuff of Star Wars. I mean, even on like Coruscant, they're still always showing like the dark, seedy places on Coruscant, the bars and the nightclubs and all that kind of stuff. But having a cool, elegant thing worked for Star Wars. But I think having like a tropical setting really worked for Star Wars, and I just love the look of it. I just think it's a really, really cool planet. In fact, when they were doing the name tags at Hollywood Studios, I'm pretty sure I put Scarif. That was like my home planet from Scarif.
Nice.
When they were doing like the personal and great. Well, it's like the ones you buy, but when you work there, you can pick from certain names of planets, and I think. I could be wrong, but I think it was only Tatooine, Naboo, Coruscant, and like 2 other ones you could pick from if you worked at Hollywood Studios. I can't remember, but I'm talking about the ones that like you could buy when they first started doing those.
Yeah, that's still pretty cool.
Those were cool, but yeah, I love Scarif. I think Scarif is cool.
Yeah,
it's the sandals of Star Wars.
It's the sandals of Star Wars. Good ass planet. Such a iconic scene on that world too.
Yeah.
Number 6 for me is a planet you briefly mentioned earlier, but Ilum. I love this planet just for the fact this is where all younglings go as a child to get their Kyber crystal. And the fact that this actually turned into Starkiller Base is so fucking cool.
It is cool. I remember when I found that out, I was like, "What?" I was like, "Lil Jon,
Right?
what?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
How far did you get in Fallen Order?
I've beaten the game. I just
Right, but recently.
I just got off Braca last night, and I'm on the ship. I forget the name of the ship.
The Mantis? Okay.
The Mantis. I just got on the Mantis.
Okay, all right, you're on the Mantis. Okay, you, if you do recall, you do visit Elam or Ilum, whatever you say.
It's Ilum. You had it right.
Ilum?
Ilum. You had it right.
Ilum. Okay. You visit Ilum obviously as Cal. Again, so that's another Fallen Order connection, huh? Like, oh my God, the Ginger said something about Fallen Order again. Look out. So yeah, that's why Ilum's my number 6 because of all those connections.
Love it. My number 6 is from the great novel Leia, Princess of Alderaan, aka also in The Last Jedi. Crate.
Great.
There is nothing more. I mean, I don't care if you think The Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars movie you've ever seen. You never want to see another Star Wars movie ever again because you hate that movie so much. You cannot tell me the Battle of Crate is not the most beautifully filmed thing in Star Wars. I won't believe you. I don't buy it. I think it is the most visually stunning anything we've ever seen in Star Wars. And I love the fact that they didn't make it an ice planet. It wasn't another thing. It's salt. Like, I loved that little twist on it. And then like the red underneath it. And if you ever play Fallen Order, no, not Fallen Order. That's Cal's game. If you ever play Battlefront 2, playing on Crate is one of the coolest gaming experiences ever because it's just like you get the scale of all the AT M6, whatever they're called, and you get to see the red and like walk through the tunnels of it. It's just so beautiful. And then, not to mention like when the Falcon's flying through and it's shooting down the red crystals. I mean, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that whole planet. It actually should be higher on my list. I just think it's beautiful.
I almost put that on my list after I made my list, but I'm like, no, I'm pretty solid with what I've got. So great choice. Excellent choice.
I'm surprised there hasn't been more crossover yet, to be honest with you.
Right? We are. This is kind of crazy how this is separate, but I kind of love it.
I do too. I like it that it's not just like, yeah, I got that on mine too. I bet you our number ones are the same.
I guarantee you our number ones are the same.
What's your next one?
So, number five. We do. Speaking of Fallen Order, we get to visit this planet in Fallen Order to free some of the planet's inhabitants, but we see this planet well before Fallen Order in Episode 3, when we meet Tarful and see Chewbacca in Episode 3, and Kashyyyk is my number 5 favorite planet, just because it is gorgeous, and it's like this tropical paradise, but it's like if Star Wars had a planet and the whole planet was Australia, because everything could kill you. There's like pterodactyls in Kashyyyk. There's obviously Wookiees. There's that giant bird that you get to fly for a little bit in Fallen Order.
That thing's cool.
That thing was really cool. I just love the planet because there's like they offer almost something for everybody, and there's secrets upon secrets. That origin, which is like their origin tree or like their tree of life that you have to climb, that you get up to the bird, which you have to fight the ninth sister on. So
isn't that the same planet? Isn't that the same level where you're climbing up the AT-ST or the AT-AT? What planet was that?
Oh God!
I loved that level. That was such a fun level. And you like take control of it.
Back to Kashyyyk?
I don't remember.
Yep.
It was right. Okay.
It's Kashyyyk.
Okay.
Yep. Because that's the first time you go to Kashyyyk, because that's how you meet Saw Gerrera. You drive the walker into Kashyyyk, and then he jumps on and he's like, "Yo, who the hell are you?"
Yeah. That's right. All right, my number 5 was also Kashyyyk.
Oh crap!
That's the first. I spoke too soon. Damn it.
You did.
For everything you just said, for me it was the reason I picked this one was because I remember it being in the prequels more so than anything else, and just being like, oh shit, that's where Chewie's from. Like, that was just so cool to me. As I wasn't a kid, but like as a 15-year-old, I guess. Well, what was it? No, it was an Attack of the Clones, right?
Kashyyyk? No.
Yeah.
It was in Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, so yeah, I wasn't like a kid, but I remember like, oh, that's Chewie's planet. But for every other reason you said also, but that just it makes me think of the prequels. I remember the scene of the dude like come out, he's like, like as they're going to fight. That's just what I think of when I think of Kashyyyk.
Good planet.
All right, man. What's your number 4?
My number 4, and speaking of things that overlap, but I did mention I've got Naboo on my list. So Naboo is my number 4. Just gorgeous planet. Padme's from it, and she's part of my favorite love trio with Anakin and Padme. Gorgeous, just gorgeous, gorgeous aesthetic of the planet overall. And I kind of dig that there's, like a hidden city underneath it too.
Yeah, I love that part of it too. I didn't even mention that with the Gungans and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so cool. All right, man. My number 4 is, this is going to surprise you, I think, Batu.
I am surprised. Okay.
It obviously could be higher on my list, but I don't think we've had enough time with it. Like, it's a cheat code to be like, oh, I can walk onto to Batu, and I totally get that argument, but it's it's cheating almost. Because if it was, the reason it's cheating is because if it was any planet in Star Wars, you'd feel the same way about it. You don't feel that way about Batu because it's Batu yet. I think that's going to change. I think we're going to get a lot of lore surrounding Batu, and I know they did that with the VR stuff. And I'm not saying you can't like the planet, because obviously I do. It's on my list. But I feel like if they made, if they made something, make up some other planet, you'd love that planet just as much. And obviously it is because it's a great experience and that kind of stuff. But they could have put those stories that they told on Batu on Tatooine, and you would love it just as much as you love Batu. But I mean, that's the rose by any other name would still smell sweet argument. I totally get it, but there's just planets that I like more, and it's not because I don't like Batu. I obviously do. I moved to Orlando because Star Wars is here. That's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons. Let's be honest. But I love it, but I want more lore from it before I can put it higher on my list. There's a good amount, but I just want a little bit more. I'd actually would like to see Mandalorian take place on Batu for a little bit. Have him go work for Doc Ondar. If it's going to be like season 1. Let's get him working for some Doc Ondar. I think that'd be interesting.
Oh my God! Right? Come on, give us some Batu on TV.
Yeah.
Just film it. You could film it there.
That'd be tough. You'd have to do it after hours, and that would be fighting the light and the dark, literally.
Do it at night then.
Yeah,
film at night.
It could be cool. I think it'd be cool. You have a built-in backdrop.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, it would. You know what they should do? They should do it only at Hollywood Studios to embrace the Hollywood Studios aspect of the park. Like,
yes.
Mandalorian filmed here on Batu. That actually would be pretty dope.
That would be awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, so much potential, but more on Batu to come. But number 3 for me is Bogano. Again, another Fallen Order planet, but the connection for me with Bogano is just, look, there's this epic Jedi temple there, and you're actually heading to Bogano right now on the Mantis, so you'll see what I mean. There's
what's funny? I just remembered that I actually got to Bogano last night, because that's the one with there's the little foxy looking things coming out of the holes.
Yeah.
I got to that part, and then that's where I did the save point. So I forgot. I'm a little past that, but yes.
Okay. So Bogano, it's got this spectacular Jedi temple that you obviously eventually find the holocron in. That's where you meet, Cordova for the first time. This is where you meet BD1 for the first time, and you two become best buds. You fix your lightsaber here. So Bogano, not only is it like gorgeous, it's like it's a hidden planet that the Empire eventually found, but just the fact that it seems so untouchable, almost that nobody's ever lived there, and it's just thriving with life. It kind of makes you a pine for living in a cabin in the woods with like nobody around you.
Absolutely, that's the vibe I get from Bogano. I like that planet. That's a good call. I didn't even think about that when I saw it last night. My number 3, we talked about it a little bit before, but it's Tatooine. Obviously for all the reasons you said, but for me, we get Luke Skywalker. But not to mention the Anakin stuff. I mean, Tatooine was really they did a lot with Tatooine in the original trilogy. They go to it. It starts off there in the original, in A New Hope. They don't go to it at all in Empire Strikes Back, but then they circle back on it in Return of the Jedi. And I think the Return of the Jedi sequence does a lot for world building on Tatooine. They could have done that on any other planet, but the fact that they chose to do it on Tatooine was really cool because A, it's probably just cheaper to film in the desert, and
right.
B, it was just like something familiar, right? But when you're a 10-year-old and you're going to see Episode 1 for the first time, and you get to see Tatooine almost in a completely different light, where it's like, you know, because Luke, he was like the only person around, and then they go to Mos Eisley. If you're seeing, it's Mos Espa, right? That's the name of the place where Anakin grew up.
Yeah, that's what my understanding of.
Mos Espa, or is that the one from the Mandalorian?
Oh, you're talking about the cantina, Mos
No,
Eisley?
Mos Eisley is the cantina. I'm talking about where Anakin grew up. That was Mos Espa, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Again, if I'm wrong, please correct me because I don't want to say things wrong.
Yeah, if you're wrong, I'm wrong. So somebody correct us, please.
But, you know, getting Watto and seeing a new creature in Star Wars, and for me, Tatooine really is Episode 1. It just, I love all the stuff that we saw in Return of the Jedi and in A New Hope, but like I love the pod racing. That does a whole thing for. I didn't even know there were that many the spectators in the pod racing. I didn't know that there were that many people on Tatooine. The original trilogy made it seem so desolate. I mean, and it may have by that time, but it was kind of weird to see Tatooine like thriving. But I love it in the prequels more than I do the original trilogy. But I love that planet. It gives us the two greatest Jedi in the history of Jedis, Anakin and Luke Skywalker. So.
Yeah, great point. Especially how flourishing it was. Maybe that was on purpose, just to show us people lived there and thrived before the Empire kind of just killed it.
Yeah, I think that was intentional for sure. Did you ever see how they do that pod racing sequence where like the crowd? Do you know how they do that?
Oh man, I think I've heard you say before, but please enlighten me.
Yeah, so I always thought it was CGI growing up, but they literally just individually colored Q-tips and had a fan blowing under the Q-tips to simulate movement.
Oh wow.
It's insane. I'll send you the picture that I have of it. It's insane. Like it's absolutely insane
please do.
that's how they did that. But yeah,
That is
all right.
intense.
Yeah, I know. What's your number 2?
Number 2. So those of you know, I'm currently residing in Phoenix, Arizona. It's summer. It is 112 or something today. I don't know. It's really hot, excessive heat warning, this, that, the other. It's July. It's what it is out here. But I love the desert. I love the mountains. I love the random wildlife out here that thrives in such a desolate environment. And I love that scenery. So that makes my number 2, Dathomir. Why I love that so much, because it reminds me a lot of Arizona, like the barren desert land of Arizona. So Dathomir, home of the Night Sisters and the Night Brothers. And again, oh my God, he used another one from Fallen Order. Oh my God. But still a very prominent Star Wars planet.
For sure.
So with that being said, this is all those reasons mostly connected to where I've lived for the past 7 or 8 years. Where I've had a lot of great moments in. That's why Dathomir lands at number 2.
Beautiful. My number 2 is pretty out of left field, and I didn't realize how much I liked it until I really started doing this list. And I was like, wait, this has to be on there. And I was like, this is pretty good. Bespin.
Yeah, that is one. That is kind of out of left field.
Bespin is such a dope planet because think about everything in Star Wars up to that point, right? This is what I was talking about a little bit before. We always see the lived-in, the dingy, the dirty Star Wars. Even so, if you go just by planets we've seen in the original trilogy up to that point, we had Tatooine and we had the Death Star. They didn't go to any other planet as far as I can remember. Let me scroll through. Yavin at the end, which is like a jungle, so kind of overgrown, kind of dingy planet. Then we start off on Hoth, which is like a desert wasteland, or a frozen wasteland. Then you have them going to, you have Luke going to Dagobah swamp. Reminds me of Florida. Love it. And then you have Han and them going off on their own thing, right? And they end up on this planet that is just like so futuristic, but yet feels it feels familiar in a weird way. It's almost like they just kind of encapsulated the 70s at that point in Bespin. It just kind of has that vibe to it. Plus, so much important stuff happens on Bespin. You know, Lando, you meet him for the first time. He turns them into Darth Vader. You see Darth Vader block a friggin' blaster shot with his hand.
So cool.
I mean, Jesus Christ! I remember seeing that as a kid. Be like, holy shit, you can't even kill this guy. You have the fight with Luke and Vader on Bespin, where you find that he's his father. That's like the whole crux of the whole story. Then there's a cool comic book line where they actually show what happened to his lightsaber on Bespin from when his arm got cut off, which was cool. But it's just a cool aesthetic. I just love it. And there's a Bespin play set that's like the carbon freezing. Well, carbon freezing, even just throw that in there.
Oh, yeah.
They show the Ugnaughts. I mean, there's so much stuff that happens on Bespin that's important. So it's a favorite visually of mine. And then it's also just there's a lot of important stuff that happens on Bespin.
Yeah, the first thing I thought of Bespin was this is when like Luke and Leia, connect with the Force for the first time.
Yeah, that too. I mean, dude, Bespin's an important spot in Star Wars. A lot of crazy shit happens on Bespin.
That's insane.
But
Bespin.
it's nothing to my number one. But before we get to my number one, what is your number one, sir? I have a feeling.
My number one. Yeah, you're right. It is Batu. Is my number one, but for your Batu, it makes sense, and I think my reasons will make sense too. I mean, I don't have to go into the why of it literally being the one thing that we can visit that is real Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just get that out of the way. That's what makes it so fucking awesome. Okay. But at the same time, I haven't been to Batu all that often. So it's and that'll change. That'll obviously change when I eventually become an AP, when I move in less than 30 days.
Yes.
And whenever they start selling APs again, Disney, please get on that.
Well,
I'm getting FOMO.
I just saw that like one of the overseas parks started doing it this week, so it's a good sign.
Oh.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I
like
forget
that.
which one. I think isn't it in Paris? Are they even open? I forget which one.
Yeah.
Holly told me.
Paris is open.
Okay,
All
so
of them are open.
okay, so I think it's Paris then. I feel like it was that one.
I'm gonna look into that. But Batu, the reasons I haven't been able to be on planet as much as you or Evan, and that's fine. I'll get to that level, but because it's so far out of reach, there's still a lot of mystery there for me. There's still a lot of things that I want to do several more times. There's things I haven't done that I want to do for the first time. There's certain merch now that I'm more interested in. But the fact that you can, just dive into Batu, you're having a bad day. I use things like comic books and Star Wars and stuff like that, not to get too personal, with escapism a lot, to try to get away from the ragtag run-of-the-mill stuff. And Star Wars does a fantastic job of that for me, of getting my mind out of that loop of, every day, the 9 to 5 work day, and then everything else that comes with being a doll, all that good shit. Don't explain it to any good person listening to this. You guys understand.
Yep.
So with that being said, the fact that Batu exists to just be able to literally live your obsession and live your Star Wars story is, how could I not make it number one?
I knew you would, and I knew if we were doing the show with Evan that he would. But I do think I like this my number one a little bit more than Batu. We didn't even mention I didn't mention it when I was talking about it because I was too busy saying it. The only reason you like it is because it's Batu, which is not really what I meant, but I feel like you understand what I'm saying.
I do, yeah.
It's on my list, so I clearly love it. But
Right, yeah.
just the aesthetics of like the spires. It's one of the things that adds something new to Star Wars visually. I mean, it's not just another desert planet like Jakku or Tatooine or that one in Mandalorian that they went to. Wasn't there a planet in Mandalorian where they went to? No, something else just went to another random planet in Star Wars. What am I talking about? Who cares? Doesn't matter. But the visuals of the black spires are just so cool. They're petrified rock. I mean, it's such a cool aesthetic. So I love it. The only thing that I love more than that is my number one, which I've always been obsessed with it ever since I was a kid, Coruscant.
Yeah.
I feel like Coruscant might have even been like the first Star Wars name I knew by name that wasn't in the original trilogy. I mean, it was in the prequels, but like I feel like that was when I started like paying attention to like names and stuff in Star Wars, and I just always thought it was just so cool that the entire planet is one big ass city. Like that is just so like think about if Earth was just one city, like that's so nuts, and it's like
Epcot.
it's really, and it's really just like there was a Sith temple on Coruscant, there was a Jedi temple on Coruscant. I just always thought it looked cool. Like even Attack of the Clones, which I hate, and I think any rational person would. It just having that like speeder chase through Coruscant, and then seeing like the sports bar in Coruscant, and seeing like the fictional sports that are in Star Wars. It adds a lot to the universe. And again, it takes what you think Star Wars is like this gritty, grimy place, and then you're like, oh, here's like the upscale version of it. I mean, they do
Right.
focus a lot on like the underbelly and stuff like that, but you know, those tall skyscrapers that look like that, like the Doug Chang art that he did for that is just unreal. So that's my number one, and I
Where else
love
can you ride
Coruscant.
that sticks?
Nowhere. Where else do you want to go home and rethink your life? Nowhere. One
Yeah.
bedroom apartment on Coruscant. I would love to know what a one bedroom apartment on Coruscant costs, because I equate it to like New York or something. But we don't
Yeah.
we don't even have anything close to that in real life. Like, think about that. Like, there's nothing close to that. Like, New York would be, but it's a city. It's not even there's not even a full state that's a full city. A whole planet is that's just like, I don't even think people realize how massive that would be. It's just
Just be insane.
it's just
Yeah.
nuts. It's just such a cool concept. But yeah, all right, man. That wraps up the show. Thank you. That was a great
Awesome.
top 10. I'm glad we had a lot of stuff that wasn't the same.
Right, me too.
I was
that was fun.
I was hoping we wouldn't, because that's always better for discussion, because you know, you can discuss 10, 15 things instead of 5 things that are different. But all right, man, where can everybody find you over on the internet if they're looking to listen to your fantastic Fourth Mother Box podcast, or find you on Instagram or Twitter?
Yeah, Instagram. Just look us up at Fourth Mother Box on Instagram, and we have a fun group where we make fun of my partner, my podcast partner, Kyle Cosentino. I had to make sure I cleared that one up, just in case nobody thought, mentioned my wife a few times. So my podcast partner Kyle, we like to make fun of him a lot in our Facebook group over at the Fourth Mother Box Podcast. So that's where you can find me. Where can they find you, sir?
Instagram at the Brad Ventures, and anywhere you listen to podcasts, rate and review the show. Do it that way. We actually also have I forgot to bring this up last time. The whole reason we did the vintage collection, or the, what was it? Top 10 TVC we want. Was that what the episode was called?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
was because I started a vintage collection Facebook group. So I will have a link to that in the description of this episode. So join that group so we can talk Star Wars action figures. That's a good time. But other than that, man, thank you for downloading, listening to the show, guys. We will see you in a few days with a new episode. Until then, may the Force be with you.
Always.